George Wagner's The Wolfman is an US horror movie from 1941, and unlike Dracula or Frankenstein, one of Universal Studios' 3 high-profile monsters, the others being The Mummy and The Creature from the Black Lagoon, with no direct literary source. It is also the only Universal monster to be played by the same actor, Lon Chaney Jr. For his Wolfman guest appearances, see the Dracula and Frankenstein retrospectives in all of the 1940s movies, and defined the rules and narrative patterns for this subgenre, some of which still hold true today. For some of the more modern werewolf interpretations, see the same named retrospectives. A tribute to the Wolfman director as the inventor of the werewolf film can be found in Joe Dante's The Howling from 1981. Here, the shrink and actual leader of the werewolves is called Dr. George Wagner, but he didn't actually invent it. The Wolfman is not even the first werewolf movie by Universal Pictures. There was already The Werewolf in 1913, but this one is considered lost. And in 1925, unfortunately not lost, the silent movie crap Wolf Blood. In what is supposedly the oldest werewolf feature, albeit without a conventional transformation scene, it's more about a man who turns out into a very violent man. Canadian lumberjack foreman Dick receives, after losing a fight, an emergency blood transfusion from a wolf, because the doctor/quack had no other blood available or something. The dull mess is not really a horror movie. In one lousy scene near the end, Dick has nightmares in which he runs with a pack of ghostly wolves that kill the lumberjacks of the competition. It's primarily about the 2 competing companies, his romance with the female boss/doctor's fiancée, and the suspicion that he could be a werewolf after his horse cure. There are also accusations of murder, which turn out to be wrong, like my decision to waste precious lifetime on this turd. Already in 1935 appeared by Universal Stuart Walker's The Werewolf of London. Here, a London plant researcher is attacked by a werewolf in Tibet, and on his return turns into one himself under the full moon, and now kills a woman every night. According to a colleague, Dr. Yogami, a rare plant that only blooms by moonlight, which he had brought with him, seems to bring temporary healing. Yogami secretly steals the flowers from him and turns out to be the werewolf that infected him. He only heals himself with the last plant, so that, since now defenseless, his former victim kills him, only to be shot by the police while trying to kill his wife.
You saw me standing by the corner of a main street, and the lights are flashing on your windowsill.
This unintentionally comical piece of junk can neither come up with a good story, it's completely nonsense, nor with really interesting makeup effects, as the main actor refused to work under the original makeup design that was later successfully used in Wolfman. He also acts quite human in werewolf form, with a suit, cape held in front of his face like Dracula? Is that supposed to be a parody? Gets himself knocked out in a fight, even though he was supposedly tearing iron bars out of the wall just beforehand. The whole thing seems more like an ultra-lame Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde variation, and was quite rightly a flop often ignored. After 18 years, Larry Talbot returns from America to his family's castle estate in Wales. There he buys a walking stick decorated with a wolf's head from Gwen in an antique store and makes an appointment with her. Her friend Jenny joins them to have by the gypsy Bela, played by Dracula himself, Bela Lugosi, in the forest in disbelief his fortune told. When Gwen's friend is attacked by a wolf, he kills the animal with the silver knob of his stick and is bitten in the process. However, the police only finds Jenny, with her throat torn out, and the dead gypsy. Bela's mother explains to Larry that his bite has brought the werewolf's curse upon him, with the pentagram as its sign, which every werewolf wears and sees in the palm of his next victim, and that he can only be killed with a silver weapon. But Larry refuses to believe this, transforms in the night, and a gravedigger becomes his first victim. While the police are in the dark, the population suspects the aristocrat and forms a lynch mob. He falls into a bear trap as a werewolf, and the old gypsy woman comes to him and recites the poem of the wolf flower, which turns him back. Larry wants to leave the country, but when he says goodbye to Gwen, he sees a pentagram in the palm of her hand and flees. Hands the walking stick to his unbelieving father, Sir John, who ties him to a chair and confronts the gypsy. Werewolf Larry, who was apparently able to free himself off camera, attacks Gwen in the forest but is killed by his father with the silver stick before he can hurt her, and turns back under Sir John's stunned gaze after the old gypsy woman recites the poem again.
Don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after. No, don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after.
The classic among the werewolf movies still worth watching laid the foundations for several werewolf myths, such as the pentagram as its mark, or that only silver can kill it, but interestingly not the best known one. The Wolfman is the only universal werewolf movie in which the full moon does not appear even once. In the movie, he is not the trigger for the transformation, but the blooming of the wolf flower. In 1961, Terence Fisher's British horror drama The Curse of the Werewolf is loosely based on Guy Endor's The Werewolf of Paris from 1933. In 18th century Spain, a deaf-mute girl is raped in prison by a tramp because she rejected the advances of the Count of Sinestro. After she takes revenge and escapes, she finds shelter with a doctor, but dies during the birth of her son Leon. As a child, Leon is prone to seizures under the full moon, and as an adult he finally turns into a werewolf and goes on a rampage through the countryside, until his foster father finally redeems him with a silver bullet to the heart.
Take a chance like old dreamers game. Find another way. You don't have to dream it all. Just live a day.
The first werewolf movie in color received mixed feedback, referenced among others in Howling and American Werewolf. The story also appeared in 1978 as a 15-page comic for the January issue of the magazine The House of Hammer, number 10. And like Terence Fisher's equally worth-seeing versions of Sherlock Holmes and Jekyll and Hyde, remained the only one of the British Hammer studios, as these were not as financially successful as Fisher's resurrections of Frankenstein, Dracula and the Mummy.
Don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after. No, don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after. Save it till the morning after.
2010 saw the release of Joe Johnston's Wolfman, as R-rated remake of the 1941 classic, set in 1891. Here too, a son returns from America to the castle estate in England because of his brother's death, and turns into a werewolf himself after a nighttime attack. What is new, however, is the family curse. The father turns out to be the werewolf, and in the final the two werewolfies fight each other. The from the start troubled $150 million production received mostly negative feedback and did not even make its costs worldwide back, making it one of the biggest flops. It was supposed to be released in 2008, but delayed at least 4 times. The actual director was replaced shortly before filming. There were tons of reshoots. The original score was first replaced, only to be used at the end anyway, but the composer was no longer available at the time, and so on. Despite a good cast and some unusually brutal gore interludes, the movie spreads most of the time, also thanks to the harebrained story and the stupid twist with the father, which makes no sense at all, sheer boredom, interrupted by some well-made action sequences. And especially the many CGI werewolf scenes, although Rick Barker did his usual fantastic, even Oscar-winning practical makeup work, are quite annoying. To make matters even worse, I had the glorious idea to watch it at the drive-in theater in winter, since I have always wanted to do that. The result was that I froze my ass off because I didn't have a parking heater and could hardly see anything, as it was shot far too dark, especially in the night scenes, even on a normal TV.
Don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after. No, don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning
In 2025, Blumhouse released another alleged remake directed from the same guy who was already responsible for the horrible Invisible Man abomination in 2020, already autopsied in the same named Swan song. In Lee Whannell's Wolfman, the unemployed writer/houseman Blake visits along with his high-earning career wife and daughter his rural remote childhood home after his estranged stern father mysteriously disappeared, now after years officially declared dead. At night he has an accident and the family is attacked by a strange creature which injures his arm and barricades itself in the house, and he begins to behave strangely and to slowly transform. When the creature attacks again and he manages to kill it, they realize from its tattoo that the creature is his missing father. The $25 million production rightly received mostly negative reviews. The entire movie is just about Blake's puke-boring, painfully slow transformation, similar but not nearly as interesting as in The Fly from 1986, and made in its first weekend more than 10 million alone in the US back. And once again, much like the Invisible Man feminism manifesto, a woman protects herself, and in this case also her daughter, from her violent man by killing him in the end. And again, only the name of the famous original is stolen, which is once again being used here for some twisted anti-male agenda of the director activist fuck.